Mm-mm-mm. Whew. Welcome, everybody. Oh, my gosh. Whew, what a game. What a game. Let me go ahead and do this intro. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Dom and God's Sports Talk post-game live edition, where we're going to be here breaking down the crazy Week 5 matchup that we had against the Bengals at 1 o'clock, with the Ravens pulling away in a thrilling 41-38 victory in OT. Wow. All I got to say. Dom, how you feeling right now? You looks like you just can't contain your emotions. I mean, I'm
Dude,
still settling down a little bit, but what a game.
I just want to let the audience know, we couldn't even start the podcast as soon as the game was over because I literally had to catch my breath after that game.
What's going on, chat? I got a couple people in here. Thanks
Chad,
for
how
popping
are
in.
you guys? What's going on? Will, good to see you. One Lord Shy, good to see you. It was just, what a game. I mean, that was AFC North football at its finest. And I can't wait to break it down. It was just, I have no words.
Well, I mean, a tale of two halves for this team, honestly, because, the offense was kind of sluggish after that first drive, couldn't really get things. I know they scored another touchdown later in the half, but I felt like it wasn't smooth. Everything was kind of like, just barely working and out of sync. That's in my opinion. But then once that second half came, oh my gosh, we took off through the air. And then the defense had a pretty solid start to the game and then gave up that touchdown before half. That was terrible. And then all of a sudden, didn't know how to play defense. And Burrow was just going up and down the field. Touchdown. And then finally gets that key takeaway at the end. Marlon Humphrey jumps the slant route, which we were getting hit with all game long, with comebacks and slants by the same two receivers over and over again. I don't know what we were doing. Zachary Orr, make sure you're ready for that next time, because it looks pretty embarrassing when they're just running the same things over and over and over and over again. It was ridiculous. To the same two people over and again. I was losing my mind. But thank you. Shout out to Marlon Humphrey for getting that interception. Let's talk a little bit about the defense while we're on it. Pass rush, it was here, and then it would disappear for a long time. And then it would come back when we needed it most. It was there in the first half. Burrow was not completely settled. He was missing some throws high, overthrowing, underthrowing some guys. People were getting after him. I think Tavius Robinson had a sack on a Burrow play action on a 3rd and 1 where he chose to hold the ball, got pummeled. Somebody else had a sack on him too. I can't remember in the first half.
3 sacks today. Looks like Hamilton.
That's right. They sent the safety blitz right through the middle. Just absolutely shoved Chase Brown out of the way and got to Burrow for a big sack, which set up the second Ravens touchdown. So that was awesome. And then right after JT, shout out to Justin Tucker for nailing that 56-yarder to tie the game. Nnamdi Madubuike just absolutely destroys the guard, gets to Burrow, and stops their little game-winning drive at the end of the 4th. So I was like, yes. The pass rush showed up when it was needed the most. Now let's have it not go away for a couple years. Let's keep it back because it felt like years. I mean, obviously pass defense got torched, but you knew the Bengals were going to be desperate. You knew they wanted to win this game really bad at their home stadium. So I'm not going to be overly concerned about the pass defense yet, but if that happens again, if that becomes a trend, obviously I will be concerned. But the desperation that this Bengals squad was showing, I mean, that looked like a team desperate for a win, and they dropped now to 1-4, bottom of the division, winless in the conference. Only win that they have is against the woeful Carolina Panthers. So they were giving it all they had. So, and Burrow and Chase and T. Higgins, they can make stuff happen. Gesicki was getting involved. So I'm not too concerned about it yet, but it was pretty. Yeah, we got torched. We did.
Yeah.
But anyway, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this defense?
Yeah. I mean, the defense came up clutch in situations where we needed them the most. But again, it's one of those things where it's like you said earlier, you knew the Bengals were going to come out gunning. I mean, they were 1-3 heading into this game. They needed a win bad to get to 2-3. It's hard battling out when you only have one win going into week 5. It's not easy at all. So you knew what they were going to do. You knew what they'd done to us before. I mean, it's not great seeing the pass defense get mauled like that. But like you said, those guys came up clutch when needed. Marlon, clutch interception at a time where the defense was desperately needing a stop. I was yelling at my TV, begging the defense to get a stop. And literally when we needed it most, Marlon Humphrey gets a stop. So shout out Marlo. We kick 3, they get the ball back. Nnamdi Madubuike storming out of the middle of the offensive line, getting the Burrow, causing a 2nd and 17, huge to take us to OT. I mean, and then like I said, we had 3 sacks today. Hamilton, Tavius Robinson. I mean, those guys. I mean, the thing about the defense was, as much as they gave up today, they showed up in the most clutchest moment. So I have to, while I am going to critique the fact that we need to work on this pass defense because it was not good today. I mean, the Burrow stats, 392, 5 tutties. I mean, we can't allow that. You know what I'm saying? We can hold Josh Allen. I mean, we should be able to hold Burrow. But that's another thing for another day.
Burrow
but
has 2 superstar receivers, though. That's
another thing, too. I mean, Higgins finished with about, 83? Jamar Chase had daggone near 200 yards, both having 2 touchdowns. I mean, this passing defense has to get it together because we see them again, and we have to play the Steelers and the Browns twice. So we have to get that together. But all in all, the pass defense does need to get better, but they showed up when we needed them to. And boy, did we need them to, because Burrow was watching us up and down the field all day. It was like everything was working and everything was open. When Burrow hit that screen pass to Chase and he went for 70 yards, I was like, yeah, this game's over. Because there's no way, we can't even stop a screen pass from going 70. I was like, this defense is not here. It just wasn't good. But man, in that fourth quarter, in overtime, and it was like it was special teams defense. They did a good job. You have to tip your cap, to those guys because they showed up. I think Orr is going to get back to the lab, work some things out because I feel like he was sending like a lot of blitzes, and I don't think we didn't go away from the blitz even when Burrow was tearing it up.
Sounds good, bro. I'll be around. Sorry, I'm getting the comments back down there. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's good. It's good. But it seems as though every time Orr kept sending the blitz, but Burrow was tearing the blitz up, and it felt like we kept trying to send the pressure, but we kept getting mauled each and every time. I'm like, dude, we have to know when to drop back and when to send the pressure. And when the blitz is getting torn up like that, why are we continuously going back to the blitz if it's not working? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't getting home. It wasn't getting there. So I feel as though going forward, I feel like for Orr, this is just like a game for him to realize, okay, the blitz isn't working. We need to try something else. Send pressure somewhere else. Disguise the coverage a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Because Burrow, he knows it's like the back of his hand. He's played this forever. So I think, but to finish off my point about the defense, pass defense, you just got to get that together. The run defense was pretty decent into the second half. Looking a little iffy at first, but they got it together, played well down the stretch. The defense, it's only game 5. We have a lot of season to go, but it definitely is a work in progress.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And again, I feel like part of that attests to the desperation that the Bengals, were showing. But yes, it does need to be addressed 100%, but I'm not going to hit the panic button on it until it becomes a trend. So we'll see. We'll see how we do against the Commanders next week in that department. This guy who's leaving comments down, by the way, he was at the game. He interviewed me and Chris Labusa when we went to the Raiders game. So I was at my lowest of lows at that point. So, that was. I remember that. I don't want to feel that again. So hopefully,
Good thing you don't feel it today. My goodness.
if he's at the game next week and wants another interview, that's fine because I'll be in a better mood even with a loss because we'd be 3-3. I think this is a much bigger win because that puts us at 2-2 in the conference, 1-0 in the division, and drops Cincinnati to 0-3 in the conference, which is crazy. 0-1 in the division and 1-4 on the season. Welcome to the bottom. Love it, kitty cats. Good night. Well, obviously it's still not over, but it's not looking good. Now let's go ahead and jump to the offense. So, yeah, let's talk about the first half.
That offense.
Ravens come out and take it right down the field and score. Looking great. But then things start to go a little bit sideways, and it was very frustrating because there were drops. Lamar was missed off the mark on a bunch of throws in the first half. I mean, ball was high on a lot of passes, and they were very, open and completable passes that if you would have just threw it right on the money, it would have been a first down. And I will be at the game next week, by the way, versus the Commanders. So yeah, maybe we can get one more interview in next week. What was I going to say? Yeah, and then everything just looked kind of out of sync. I mean, Lamar was on the run on a couple plays. The running game was absolutely stifled. Not much was going on. Lamar had a couple scrambles, but again, not many rushing yards at all. The Bengals were playing sort of a, stack the box, 7-8 guys up there to stop Derrick Henry. They were not going to let Henry go crazy today, and respect to that because he's been going crazy the past two weeks. So that had to make us step up and make plays in the passing game. And they made a little bit of them in the first half, connecting with Bateman on that 3rd and 5 for a touchdown. When Stone was blitzing off the left side, Lamar threw it on the run. But it just seemed very, kind of like what we were talking about last year with what Kurt Warner was saying. Everything looks out of sync. I felt that way about the first half on offense. Everything was just kind of happening. Yeah. And, yeah, we got a comment about the center. Bad snaps. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But everything just didn't flow together. And it just felt like we were off. And credit to the Bengals defense because they did a very good job, I thought, in the first half containing what we got. I mean, Sam Hubbard, I talked crap about him in the pregame show. That dude had an amazing game. That dude was flying through the line, making tackles, got a safety on Derrick Henry when we were pinned at the 2-yard line, although that's more I tested to Pat Ricard missing his block, in my opinion. But still, Hubbard made the play. He's been kind of invisible this year, but really showed out today when they needed him the most. And then we jumped to the second half, and this offense just went on and on and on. No punts, only scoring drives, scored touchdowns on every drive except the final one of the fourth quarter when they got that field goal. And the only drive they didn't score on in the second half / overtime was that fumbled snap by Lamar Jackson. So let's talk about those real quick. I honestly thought the snaps weren't terrible. I think Lamar was so locked in and dialed in that he just wasn't concentrating on the ball. I can't really remember the first one. The first one, just an amazing play. It was on the ground. He picked it up, ran around, threw it across the middle, likely for a touchdown. But that second one in overtime, I was so depressed when that happened. Just took his eye off the ball. He was clapping, trying to get the snap to, be snapped before the delayed game. Clapping his hands, ball was snapped. He puts his head up and just dropped it, just flat out dropped it. And that would have been a hell of a way to lose. I'm so glad we somehow pulled it out of our ass. But, yeah, he just lost concentration. It wasn't a bad snap. It was right there. I'll get your opinion on that first one in a minute. But, yeah, so glad that the defense was able to get that stop in overtime. Only allowed 3 yards on the Bengals' ensuing drive. And then, obviously, the bad snap, bad hold, and the missed field goal led to our win. But, yeah, other than that, the passing game was dialed in the second half. It was just going up and down the field. Lamar was extending plays with his legs, scrambling, stepping up in the pocket, checking it down when needed. Zay Flowers, there we go. That was a lot of predictions by people that he would have a breakout game. And, yes, I would say he did. 7 catches for 100 and some yards. So good job by him to get back in the fold. Welcome back, Mark Andrews. He had a couple catches for about 50 yards or so, I'm going to say.
55 yards, yeah.
55, good. Isaiah Likely had a couple touchdowns, 2 of them. Justice Hill snuck in there with a couple handoffs there because that sort of opened up the run game at the end when we were passing the ball down by 10, trying to move down the field quick. That opened up a couple run lanes for Hill to get some big first downs on 3rd and shorts. So that was pretty cool. And then, play action was utilized very well at the goal line. I mean, that's where most of all of his touchdowns came from, were those play action bootlegs or play action fakes where tight ends were just running free. Shout out to Charlie Kolar, too, getting his 2nd NFL touchdown today in the 4th quarter. Just all the tight ends were getting involved today, and that was a beautiful thing to see, as well as Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. So it was a very productive.
Wallace.
Yeah, and Tylen Wallace. If you like offense and you like stats, pretty stats, this was a game for you. So yeah, and then shout out to King. He never goes away. He's always a threat. The way he conditions his body and trains and works out, this dude never gets tired. As we saw in overtime, gets the toss on the outside, second play right after, or it might have been first, I can't remember. Right after the Bengals missed, either the first or second play, takes the sweep left, right down the sideline, damn near broke it for a touchdown. But yeah, that just shows you can't forget about him. Even if you bottle him up all day, he is one play away from just breaking loose, and that's exactly what he did to set up the go-ahead Justin Tucker game winner, 24 yards. What'd I say, Ticker? Yeah.
He said Ticker, yeah.
But yeah, shout out to this Ravens team, Ravens offense. They showed they can win without just running every single play. They showed that they can throw the ball when they need to, come back from behind, fight their way back into the game, make those game-winning stops, put the ball through the air. So shout out to them, showing us they can win in multiple ways.
Yeah. You hit it on the nose. It was great execution on all fronts from this offense. Zay, 7 for 111.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's insane. Kolar, 3 for 64. Bateman coming alive, 4 for 58 and a tutty. Like, I always get happy when he gets catches because I know people are just like, Bateman. But dude, I already knew Bateman is a stud. He just needs opportunities. He had a really clutch catch in the 4th quarter. Actually, no, not in the 4th quarter. I think it was overtime, like on a 3rd down.
Right, it was right before
we bobbled the snap. Yeah, right before he bobbled the snap. He had a clutch catch to get us a first down. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, we might actually win this right here before we bobbled that snap. But yes, Lamar, like, I don't care about Mahomes. Lamar is the greatest quarterback alive. I'm sorry. And I know people are going to say it. I don't care. Dude, when Lamar stiff-armed, said, F it, I'm going to throw that joint up. Bro, when I say that ball was right where Likely can get it, I was stunned. Like, I literally couldn't even believe that. I thought it was a sack when he got the ball back. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going down. He said, get off me, you little child, and literally threw that ball up. I was so stunned. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was
like, screaming at your television?
I was screaming at my television. Like, I was like, how did he do that? Like, I was like, bro, he's the best quarterback alive. I don't care about Mahomes. Mahomes 3 Super Bowls. I don't care about those. Lamar Jackson.
Let's get him one, please. Can we get one?
Please. But I do have a couple of concerns. I don't like the clock management. And in a couple of situations, like Harbaugh calling that timeout before halftime. I mean, that pretty much saved the Bengals to get points. You know what I mean? Like, it's just small things. And then when we have the ball in the 4th quarter, we get the ball back off the Marlowe interception. Why are we? First of all, I know that we're working with field, and we have over a minute on the clock. Why are we passing so many times? Why not try to get some handoffs? The Bengals didn't have to use any timeouts when we got that ball back. They had all 3 timeouts. We did. I don't understand the clock management there. Like, in my opinion, like, if we get the ball back in that situation, down 38-35, and we have a chance to maybe try to go down there and win the game, run the clock. They haven't really, that whole 4th quarter, they haven't been able to stop your pass game barely. Like, why? I get that, but run the ball, try to waste some clock, maybe threaten the pass game, use some play action. Like, I just feel as though because the pass game was working so well, we depended on it heavily, leading to, like, bad clock management. I don't like that from Harbaugh. I think in these situations, when our pass defense is not working well, and we need to waste as much clock as possible and try to get down the field to end the game. Like, thank God in that situation in overtime that Burrow didn't want to try to throw the ball because Chase was one-on-one in a lot of situations. Thank the Lord they decided to just try to run the ball and end the game, because if they would have tried to pass that, I don't know what would have happened. So, I mean, I think in this situation, you run the ball, try to waste some clock, and get down the field, and then kick the field goal to try to, and then send it to OT. Don't let them get the ball back. We're like, you know what I'm saying? I just don't like our clock management in some situations. I think Harbaugh really needs to evaluate how to use the clock a little bit better, or somebody maybe he needs like a clock coach or something. Like, I don't know, but like, dude, it's just I don't like. And I want to get your comments on that after I'm finished. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like the clock management in a lot of situations. Boy, but I did love the fact that literally Lamar hit, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different receivers caught the ball today. Like, that's just giving the rock. And then let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys had over 50 yards catching today. Like, if we can disperse the ball like that with still the threat of Henry still having 92 yards and a touchdown, like, sign me up. I mean, Lamar Jackson, 348, 4 touchdowns, only sacked 1 time, 26 to 42. I mean, he was airing that joint out when he had to. The offense stepped up in that second half. Clock management needs to be worked on. That's still a concern. But boy, did we prove that the run game isn't the only way we're going to beat you. We will go down the field and we can make plays. And I remember that's one of the things we discussed in the pregame. I said, what can this offense show us that if the run game gets shut down, can they throw the ball? Can they make plays down the field? Can we get explosive plays down the field if the run game is not working? And boy, did they show me that they can do that. So I love that for them. And I just hope they can continue it. No, we do not hope for a Chiefs repeat. But yeah, it was a great offense showed up today, especially in that second half. They were balling. And I love it for them. I love Zay finally gets his 100-yard game. I wish he would have had a touchdown to go with it. Andrews had a touchdown. Unfortunately, the ball was just a little not placed accurately.
Yeah.
He was wide open. He had it, but yeah, he's still great to see him getting involved again. I know people were saying, where's Andrews at? I mean, 4 catches from 5 targets, 55 yards. I mean, that's something. So I'm happy to see that, and hopefully we can build on it. What a win. My goodness.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, to answer what you were talking about with the clock management, I didn't mind the passing at the end of the game because you didn't want to just let your foot off the gas. And we weren't really in the spot to where we did want to run the ball. Now, if let's say we got a big passing play and we got to the 20-yard line, then 100% I would agree with you. Let's slow it down. Let's run the clock, and let's try to make this the last drive. That I would have 100% agreed. But the fact that we were still sort of out in no man's land, like by the 40-some, and I wasn't sure if they were going to send Tucker out there. I'm not even going to lie. Based on what's been going on the past few weeks. I mean, they were at the 35, 36, 7-yard line. I can't remember. You want to get as many yards as you can. And I still think, even though they passed a lot, there were some things that were still open. That 3rd down and 5 or 6, right before the Tucker field goal, guy was open. Lamar just got pressured, got hit a little bit, couldn't get the ball to Bateman, and that would have been an easy 1st down. So I don't think the play calling there was too much of an issue, in my opinion. But, yeah, I completely agree with you with the timeout in the first half. And then a couple of other things you said about, just being smart with the clock and make sure you're paying attention. And I feel like other clock management issues, they've got to be able to not take these – wasting that time out there at the end was huge as well. What was I going to say? Yeah, right when it was right before that play I was talking about, when it was 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 5.
Yeah, the delay again before the clock went down. Yep.
Yeah, you need to be able to get that ball snapped. And I know it's loud and the fans are crazy, but when you waste that timeout, that was really crucial because that could have saved you some time at the end of the 4th quarter when the Bengals had 53 seconds left, 3rd and 17. And they decided to do a draw play. You could have used that timeout and had 50 seconds to go let Tucker win it in overtime. Because before overtime, because next time you might not get so fortunate. You might get the ball to the other team, or the other team might not miss the field goal when they get a chance. So, yeah, there were a couple instances where I think the clock management was an issue. The only thing I just disagree with was the play calling on that final drive. I thought that was fine. Unless they were closer to the end zone, yeah, definitely run the ball. But I just don't think they were far enough to just completely abandon, or not abandon, but mix in the runs quite yet. Because
I can see that from that standpoint. My mindset was basically just because we couldn't stop them, like we weren't getting stops, and like the one pick that we had, I was like, my God, that's one of the first stops we've had all day.
Mm.
So at that point, I'm just like, okay, maybe the situation is you run the ball, mix in those option plays. You know what I mean? Try to waste some clock. And then you try to get down there, maybe take some shots to the end zone and try to win the game. That was kind of my mindset going into it, only because we were not getting stops. And I know with throws could come incompletions, and with incompletions could come with clock stops. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, so if we throw the ball as many times and we stop the clock as many times, the Bengals still have 3 timeouts. They've been torching us all day. And at that point, it's just like, oh, damn, we're leaving them just enough time to get down the field and end this joint. So that was kind of my mindset going towards it. I'm saying, like, if you run the ball, try to maybe sneak in some option plays with Lamar, something like that, keep the clock moving, and then you try to get yourself into position to try to take some shots into the end zone and win the game. That was kind of my mindset going into it, but I can also see from your standpoint not being as close to kind of fit the run game in.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to ask, what did you think of that fumbled snap, the first one? I wasn't paying attention fully at that point. I think I was looking away for some reason. Was that a bad snap by the center, or did he just drop that one as well? Because I know he dropped the second one.
It didn't look like a bad snap. I honestly have to see it again because the game was what it was. I was like, I could barely remember that snap at that point. I just remember the last one that almost freaking lost us the game. But it didn't look like a bad snap. It just looks like 2 moments where Lamar might have lapsed. He might have just been like, again, laser focused and then just dropped the ball. I don't know. I have to look at it again. It could have been a bad snap.
Yeah, I've got to watch that.
I really can't tell. I got to watch it again. But yeah, they have to limit those. I know the first bumble snap turned into a beautiful play, but we have to limit those bumbles because Lord knows if we do that against another team, we're cooked. But it's just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah.
Okay.
But one more thought I want to give.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I also just wanted to say, shout out to the Bengals. They gave us a fight. That was a fight. Heavyweight bout right there. Joe Burrow played damn near lights out, minus the interception. But I mean, he was 30 for 39, almost 400 yards passing. Chase went off, Higgins went off. I mean, we couldn't stop a cold if we had some NyQuil or Dayquil on like we couldn't stop them. But they proved, that they're still a good team offensively. And they showed up. They showed up to try to get a win. Luckily, we were able to pull it out. But shout out to them because they showed up and they almost punched us in the mouth, just straight up. So glad we were able to come out of that one with a win.
Yeah, thank goodness. So we can breathe a little bit though. Looking around some other games around the AFC North, Browns took on the Washington Commanders today and got curb stomped again. So the Browns, what do you do from here? I mean, Watson looks just absolutely abysmal. At least today he did. Commanders, are they for real? We will see. I mean, they got us next week at the bank at 1:00. I'll be there to watch and hopefully see what we can do to them. Maybe we can rattle them a little bit, get the rookie under some pressure. But we're going to need to see some more pass rush than we did today. So we'll see. But the one thing that is encouraging, we won't have to go up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but we will have to go up against Scary Terry. That is being Terry McLaurin, as it's also October, spooky season. We don't want Scary Terry to get going. Yeah. So, shout out to the Commanders for getting the job done, sending another division rival of ours to 1-4. So the Browns and the Kitty Cats can just hold their hands in the pit of the basement right there, the dark basement, slam the door, lock them down there for a while. So good job, Washington. Thank you. Now, Cowboys, can you do us a favor tonight and beat those Pittsburgh Steelers so we can take the North?
I'm about to say, I think a Cowboys win tonight would put us first in the division since we have our first division win. So, I mean,
Dak,
Cowboys. I'm a
Dak,
Cowboy fan tonight.
CD, Dak, Turbin. Can you do us one solid, please? Thank you. But anyway,
get Prime Zeke back for tonight, please.
Just an absolute insane game today. Great win for the Ravens. They showed that they can win these tight games. And win by not just running the ball over and over again. They can pass. They can keep it close. So we just got to eliminate some of the sloppy mistakes. The receivers, shout out to no drops at the end of the game too. Well, I lied. Zay had one drop on a little drag route, but other than that, everybody was sticky hands.
Out. They were lights out.
Yeah. I think shout out to Bateman too for that very clutch catches today.
I think this just shows
great job.
This is just an all-out team effort. Like, I think you just have to give it to everybody here. I mean, Marlon Humphrey interception, Justin Tucker field goal, Derrick Henry run, field goal to end it. All three phases of the ball were a part of this win. And, you just got to give it to the team because everybody showed up when they needed to.
Yeah.
And everybody came up in the clutch. So, shout out to everybody for showing not being flustered, even though they were getting torch, not being flustered, but just going out there and executing. And that's what they did.
Yeah, they were down by 10 3 different times in that second half, and each time they battled back over and over and over again. So that was great. I'm really excited. I'm gonna go check out what's going on in the other games. I think we've got Seattle Giants, Raiders Broncos, Packers Rams, and Niners Cards. Actually, honestly, they're not very good games in my opinion. I think about it,
I'm gonna take a couple of hours break from football. I need my heart to breathe. And I will probably tune into Dallas
Cowboys Steelers,
this evening. Because I immediately, like, the next game after our game ended, the next game came on. I think that was Rams and Packers. I immediately turned the game off. I couldn't watch football after that game came on because I still had to get my life together from what that game was. It was incredible. The heavyweight bout between two AFC North teams, and boy, was it something to watch.
Right.
I feel like our score predictions are out the window. I don't even know what we predicted for that game to be. I knew it was going to be close, but our score predictions were kind of blown out the window after the first half.
Yeah, well, mine was correct in the sense it's going to be 3-point game. So I said 27, and it ended up being 41-38. Yeah.
I have to double check the scores. Well, I will double check what I said. And
you had 7-point game, 24-17
game. Okay,
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I thought it was actually going to be more of a defensive game. It was not.
Point differential was off. But yeah, they 3-point game. So shout out. Yeah, you just said it perfectly. All three phases contributed to this victory. All three did their part in that overtime / fourth quarter. Which is apparently one of the worst for the Ravens, was probably one of their best, at least offensively. So yeah, shout out to us. Thank God we got the dub. I'm ready to close on out. You got anything else to say before we take a break for the evening?
Well, I'm gonna take some blood pressure medicine, and I'm gonna relax. We're gonna play some Madden. Wait for this Dallas and Pittsburgh game to come on.
Okay.
And I'm going to celebrate going into this victory Monday. And we will come back to get ready for these Commanders coming into town.
Yep. I'm going to go celebrate. I'm going to watch some highlights. I'm going to see what Harbaugh and the Ravens had to say about this. I also would like to see what Jamar Chase has to say about this because we already know he's very emotional in his interviews. And it might be cool to see him.
It does suck to go, literally, you almost put up 200 yards. Lost. That's not.
I still am angry when they said. I'm still angry about the fact when they said we were garbage or whatever they said when we had no quarterbacks. But when it's full strength, Lamar improves himself to 9-1.
I'm about to say we're going to give you a fight
against those kitty cats.
We're going to give you a fight when we're full strength.
They were talking crap. We still remember 2021.
Yeah. We were. You got to give respect to that talent on that side.
Oh, I do.
With Bengals, you definitely got to give respect to them because they are two stud receivers, no doubt about it. But we're gonna bring the fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you got Lamar Jackson taking the snap back there, we have a chance to win.
Yep.
I've always believed that. I'm never gonna not believe that, and today proved it. If you have Lamar Jackson back there taking the snap, you have a chance to win a football game. There's just no doubt about it.
Yeah. All right, we are 5 games through for the Ravens. We got 12 more to go for the next couple months. We're sitting at 3-2, officially over 500 on a 3-game win streak. So we're excited. Let's keep this train rolling. We've got more teams coming to town, starting with the Commanders next week. We're going to go ahead. We'll catch you during our pregame show to break that game down. That'll be a fun one to talk about because I'm going to watch the highlights for that game too, see how that Commanders offense fared against the Browns. Jaden Daniels looking good, as we know. Brian Robinson, Scary Terry, a bunch of other guys on that offense contributing. So we'll see you then for that one. But thanks. We had a lot of people in here today, so we appreciate you guys rocking with us, coming through to talk some Ravens football. I'm glad it was a celebration today and not a therapy session. So yeah, that's what they are literally. If it's a win, it's a celebration. If it's a loss, it's just therapy to make us feel better. But yeah, we're celebrating today. We're 3-2. Thanks again for joining. If we're catching this on YouTube, feel free to leave a like and a subscription. Follow us on Instagram as well. This is where we go live right now. So then you can catch our live streams, join us live. But anyway, this is us. We're 3-2. Excited about it. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here. This is Gonz. We're going to be signing out. And let's go Baltimore. Let's go Ravens.